Thank you. So we'll call the meeting to order and the approval of the agenda and order of business. And I don't have any changes. We're just going to bring that up when the letters come. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to just bring up, if it's okay with the council, would be to talk about the recently approved vaccination policy.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense, actually. Yeah. Anyone, anything else? Somebody want to approve the agenda as amended?
Someone?
Second. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, employee recognition, I guess, is my next item on there. So we've got a bunch of employees to recognize for years of service here this morning, none of which can make it into the meeting, but whatever. But we have Jared Stevens, who's served with us for 10 years. Ryan Smith, 15 years. Tammy Harnish, 15 years. Tim Wiesner been here for 20 years. As has Tim Townsend. So just congratulations to them all. It's not always simple, I know that. But yeah, so thanks for all you do for us. So we're into public input, so I guess we're gonna put our mask on for that.
Alan,
Yes.
Derek, I've shut off my camera, but I can hear you, just so you know.
Yeah.
Changed my location a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I just can't see you like if you put your hand up right, so I'll have to holler or something.
If I need to speak, I'll put the camera on so you can wave to you.
Yeah, that'll work.
Thank you.
Okay, Hacken, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. You guys probably know who I am, but I'll present myself again. I own Chester Urban in Chester, and the reason I'm here today, I think they handed you my sign there that I was hoping to put on this fall when I did my renovation, but I couldn't let it meet the guidelines. So what I like to say is that I did a lot of renovations, as you guys can see at my urban there stuff, and this was the last thing that I needed to put up, and they wouldn't let me put it up. So I worked with the municipality with planning with Heather and Garth, and they came to urban has two different sizes of the sign, and we definitely have to go with the small one, and it does kind of go with the bylaws that they're going to present to you guys next week. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Now, I might be shy a couple inches for the sign. I hope you're not going to hold that against me, but I just want to stress very strongly to you guys, like about small business in Chester and what we really need here for small business. And I hope you guys support small business here in Chester. And just want to say that, you know, I've been in Chester for 34 years. And this is where I live, and this is my community. And I just hope you guys really look at this sign and really help me of, you know, making it go up and get rid of that 1970 sign that I had there, since Gary had it and everybody over. So just wanted to come and give you guys a heads up and you know, about the sign issue and about my sign stuff that I already have.
I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, we support increasing the size of signs, or else it wouldn't be coming back to us in the first place. So, but yeah, a couple inches, well, they'll have to tell me what that means.
But exactly. And I also brought Steve from Subway. He'd like to say a few words to you guys.
Hey, Steve Costa from Subway, nice to meet all of you. I'm just here to support the sign application passing as well. When we look at the investment made on the property and the equity that's brought to the village as far as optics go, I think it's great that we have a new sign there. It's an eyesore. It's kind of dangerous. The sign will be serving, obviously, it's going to be promoting the brand, but also for services with a convenience store, laundromat, Subway, and gas station, and people coming in. And I'm also investing money in the fall. We're doing a whole renovation in Subway. hopefully, we're going to be the first fresh forward renovation south of HRM, including what we've done here and everything. We're trying to put it away, delay it for 2 or 3 years, but I decided that we're going to do it since house that is. The village has treated me well, has treated me well, and it's going to be a great look for the area. You know, and I think where the sign is too, I think it's when you come into the village, I think it's key. I think it's a really focal point, and I think that whole development of that area is really going to be great equity for the village. So, to the visitors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone, any questions?
Everybody here knows how I feel with business. I'm pro-business, and I'm sure everybody else is, but I just want to say that, you know, all businesses have had a hard job in the last 2 years. And the last thing we want to do, or I want to do, is to put obstacles up. I know we have to work around certain criteria, but I just think we need to do everything possible that we can. That's the way I feel.
Yeah. Try to make more.
So I just want to say one more thing.
Okay.
So Irving only has 2 signs, so the big one's out of the question. This is the only sign that they have. They make 2 signs and that's it. And honestly, if you go to anywhere in Atlantic Canada, like Bridgewater, Lunenburg, they have their signs everywhere. I'm the only one with a brand new look that has that old 1970 sign. So if this doesn't get passed, they're not gonna make me a new sign. They don't work like that. And this sign costs me $60,000. So it is what it is. So if we get it passed, we get it passed. If not, you guys will be looking at 1970 sign for till I die. Yes.
Sam?
Does planning have the actual?
Yes, and I talked to Garth and Heather, they're pushing for it. And it is a couple inches, you know, bigger. I don't know if you guys are gonna make a big deal on a couple inches. Okay, so I wanted to come before the big meeting next week to tell you, you know, give you guys heads up, inform you and stuff. This is my chance right here. So after next week, when you guys vote, if this sign doesn't get through, and I'm not the only one, I know Tim Hortons and Home Hardware, you know, they had that, Tim Hortons had that sign since 1988. I came in 87. They opened up in 88. They had that sign since 1988. I don't know how long for Home Hardware had that other sign up for. But I mean, we're in 2022, guys. Like, come on. You know what I mean?
I think we're trying to make it all work.
We're trying to.
Yes.
If we have to expand the limit by a couple inches, because I imagine you can't make an exception, so I don't know.
No, I think we should, but that's a,
Garth will have to tell me, but.
Yeah. So
These
I had a
two
long
inches
talk
bigger.
with Garth and he feels, you know, good about it, but I mean, it's not a done deal, so it's a done deal. So, and honestly, it comes up to you guys. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I'm here pitching and, you know, and I hope I have you guys' support.
Well,
Not just for me, but also for Tim Hortons and for Home Hardware too.
yeah.
Because
Well, I think it was our
we're all small
intention
business,
passing
we're all
the
small
system,
business
but-
guys,
So,
you know?
Yeah.
So, I'll leave you guys with that, let you guys get back to what you guys have to get back to, and I'll definitely see you guys next week.
Okay,
Okay,
take care.
and I just want to thank you very much for letting me come out and me and Steve out here, we really appreciate it.
It was good to see
Okay,
you.
you guys?
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
great to see you.
Take care. Okay. Thank you.
So let's see. Okay, that was it for public input to the best of my knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, minutes previous meeting, canceled February 10th. The errors or omissions there, people. Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. Okay. Committee of the whole recommendations. Anything anybody wants to separate it there, or are we prepared to, somebody prepared to move, approve?
I'm prepared to move.
I'll second. That's the recommendations.
The recommendations,
Motion to
yes.
our passage. Moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. 6.2, Lunenburg County Senior Safety Program, Councilor Connors.
Thank you. 2 reports included as part of that committee update, the monthly report for the month of January, obviously. And you'll note on there that it's been decided to switch over to quarterly reports. So you'll receive those on a quarterly basis in terms of the paper report. That's not to say I won't continue to give a monthly verbal update with if there's something happening, I guess, if you will. Second report included within that committee update would be the annual report, and it's there. It's part of the package. We received it for a few days now, but I think even more so, just to bring your attention to the fact that the group will be coming in sometime in March, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, probably mid-March, to do an annual update to this council, as they are with all councils in Lunenburg County, with their budget request, which in this case, I think I've touched on a couple of times, and also the warden and the CAO have received correspondence, as well as Chad, in terms of incorporating it possibly into the budget, what that actual budget request will be. And it's gonna be, it's a big one. It's a big one. It's a big one. But it is, again, based on that formula right now across Lunenburg County. So we'll see if all 5 municipal units are gonna A-okay it or not. I'm hopeful. We had our monthly meeting yesterday, and when you just take a look at the number of new referrals in the month of January alone, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, but yet it is, because there's a resource, but it's I'm not sure how it's going to be sustained. But in the month of January, 46 new referrals alone. Now that might be a one phone call, or it might mean a one phone call for 3 hours, the next day, if that doesn't capture it at all. So again, we're seeing a lot of people in need, a lot of gaps, a lot of resource partner referrals to the senior safety. And I know I don't need to say it, but I mean, just because we're coming out of it yesterday, it was such a raw meeting. It continues to be an eye opener. Michael Graves, United Way, is part of that group, and he stepped up right away yesterday. No commitments from United Way, but encouraged the staff person to submit just a small budget request that will be turned around in a few days to top up the, I think it's the financial hardship fund that we have, that Chris Acombe can turn on a dime when people are out of medication, and they need, $20. It's or above. I know I'm preaching to the converted, to the agreement here, but I just be prepared for the application and the presentation, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, anybody? I mean, it's a discussion we're gonna have at some stage again. We're more or less into public presentations. Are they coming in person, or are they? So Sue LeBlanc. Oh, yeah, thanks.
Morning.
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 You have the presentation now? Okay, great. It's just some images, so even if we don't have to. Oh, well, thanks for welcoming me to chat with you all this morning. So I just wanted to kind of give you all a little update on what's happening with the Art Center and what we're hoping to do going forward.
Yeah.
And then super quick, and then I'll open for questions. I'm not sure how much you know or don't know, so I'll try not to talk on forever. So I'm going to go right back to the beginning for a second. So
You got lots of notes anyway.
I know. I didn't want to ramble on today, so so back in as you know, 2006 was when the idea started for the Art Center. They had a street fair, everybody loved it. So then 2007, they got themselves in a permanent space. They worked away in that tiny little rough building for years, and then 2016 was the grand opening of the renovation that I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure the municipality supported that project. I can't remember for sure, but it was supported by federal grants and the COA, and everyone kind of came together to make that happen, and which is our current space now. So that worked well for a while, about 4 years. That space served really well for what we were doing, worked really well for what we were doing. We had 1 or 2 exhibits a year. We had workshops mainly paid workshops in the summer season, you know, there was a summer brochure, kind of like the Playhouse did, and then closed up most of the winter other than a few kids workshops. And then during COVID, the board had been wanting to grow for a long time, and strange time to do it, but during COVID, we switched to offering year-round programming. So I'm sure you've seen our little brochures. We offer 14 classes every quarter. We have continuous exhibits. There's about a week to 10-day turnaround between. The one right now is called Market, and it's abstract sausages, if any of you are curious. It's quite something. Anyway, it's part of our diversity series. The artist is Turkic. And, okay, so this is the first slide. So, yeah, that's okay. So that was just a picture of, you know, the building before. So it was little with the yellow walls and just kind of your standard house. Go back to the next one. And there was like the outdoor events that kind of got people interested in thinking it was worthwhile making it a permanent fixture in Chester. Keep going. So that's an aerial photograph of the art center as it is now. After the major renovation, that project was about, don't have the exact number with me, but in the 250 to 300,000 range to bring it to where it is today. So now we can't do it all under one roof. Well, we could, but I spend a lot of time banging my head and bringing chairs and tables down from the basement, and that's not really a long-term solution. So we have a second space rented, starts March 1st, at where the convenience store used to be. So that way we can grow into that space and see what we can where the demand is and kind of grow to show that we need that second space. So it's just under 1,000 square feet. So that'll be our little annex down the road. So the building we're in now will be regular public hours for exhibits, and then the other space will be paid and free workshops. We also have a new website ready to launch. So our website was great when we weren't doing much, but now that we're doing more, we need a little more engaging website. So we're just a week or two away of getting everything transferred over to the new website. If you just can't help yourself, it's live at chesterartcenter.com right now, but don't look yet, give me another week or two. Even in January, when the weather was dreadful and COVID was dreadful, we had 50 people come in person to the exhibit, which doesn't sound like much, but we had 140 people view the virtual exhibit that we posted on our YouTube channel. So having that mix of in-person and virtual ways to connect with people is making sure we can still reach people no matter what the weather or COVID throws at us. Last month on Facebook, we had 15,700 visits. We used our page and 7,100 on Instagram, and we're really working at our social media following is growing all the time, and we've been connecting with other organizations. So we're offering an Indigenous festival this summer, and then we're working with the Playhouse so that their Indigenous offering happens around the same time, We also got started on a collaboration down the South Shore with the other arts organizations, the Lunenburg School of the Arts, the Astor Theater, the Grizzly Museum. Didn't come together right now for this grant, but they are at the ready to collaborate on some South Shore wide projects. So whether it be a festival that moves along the shore, getting more tourists and visitors coming down the South Shore to experience art. Some of the things that we plan to do with the new space is, perfect slide. So, be able to, this was a group of students that came in to view the Inspired Youth exhibit in November. When the students were going down to put their decorations on the tree down at the yacht club, I'd hear them from my office and run down and bring them in to view the exhibit. So, making sure we connect the kids with what's happening there and have some more community art space. Right now, we just have little bits of that, but hope the idea would be to have a more consistent hours. Right now, we do 30 kits to the food bank every month. The one we just did was a moonscape kit that's really taken off. they're out of them before we can get more in, which is really great. And so having a space for that and more artist studio spaces, longer class sessions, more like a school as opposed to just sporadic workshops and things are some ways that we can grow to be a more of an art center instead of a art nugget. We've also hired a second full-time staff. We have 2 summer students now instead of 1, and pay artists professional wages for all their workshops and exhibits. And so continuing to expand, you know, who we have, hiring more people, paying people well, and the people that come spend money here in the village as well. I think that's all. Yeah. So that's kind of my nutshell. And so now, like before we had, oh yeah, we have a little library, so our little heart installation people could help themselves to the heart and then drop it off again. And I don't think I have a picture of the finished product, but Tina saw it. You guys have seen it drive down the street. But yeah, so we need more space, and hopefully you guys will support that initiative. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, thanks for your presentation, but I'll have to, I think you sort of get here. How do you fund the organization like this?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Good question. So it's a mix of, so we have a major fundraiser and a couple small fundraisers. So private funding is about 1/3 of our funding. Then we've got some grants from you guys, a recreation grant. We also have provincial grants, operational funding and project specific funding, federal grants. We haven't yet touched on foundation funding, but that is in our short-term plan to start connecting with the foundation. Sponsors, we need sponsors, and then our paid workshops. The funds from those help to cover. So, you know, last year we had, I don't have the exact number in my head, but let's say $70,000 worth of income from paid programming. And so the spread wasn't as great as we'd like because of COVID, so we couldn't have as many numbers. So our net, that's our gross, our net was in the 20, you know, the goal would be 30% net, but it was even a little less than that last year because of COVID. But that paid programming helps to fund the free programming and the exhibits and things. So the goal, of course, as a nonprofit is just to reach 0. But last year we did quite a bit better than that. So we started a facility expansion fund, knowing that we need to grow. So moved that, we had a really successful fundraiser and we put that in a fund dedicated for expanding.
So this commercial space that you're looking at expanding into, you had a long-term lease or?
So that space is just our get us through. So it's a 1-year lease that we have, that we need the space now, but of course we can't erect a building overnight. So that's to kind of get us through. And it's in, the owner of the building has given us a discount on the rent, or is giving us a donation part of the rent back. So it's a little more affordable for us. But yeah, that's just 1 year to get us through till we have a more permanent suitable space.
Tina?
Thank you. So I don't know probably enough about the Chester Art Center that I should know. And but what I do know is that when I pick up and pay attention to, if you will, is the outreach and the fact of the partnership, like for example, with the Rossford Museum over the last couple of years. Again, COVID kind of threw a few things in there, right?
Yeah.
But with the Rossford Museum, and you've referenced also some other partnerships. I think in maybe the major project application stuff. I'm trying to remember where I saw it.
Yeah.
But also the after-school program, I picked up when we have a report coming to council today with the community school.
Yeah.
With CDS and CAMS, and I see that Chester Art Center, again, after-school program. So that's what I see as a Chester Art Center in terms of the work that you do from, birth to death, or, cradle to, really, and throughout the municipality. So I really, really, really love that. I absolutely do. And I know that Councillor Asaph and I just had, if you will, and staff, Pam and Tara and Jen, we're all participating in the equity, diversity, and inclusion advisory committee of council.
Okay, yeah.
And I know that, again, when one of the committee members reached out to you just to find out about the work that we might look to around a project that we're taking on, I'm just looking at the email now because I wanted to reference it. Just again, all positive, all over it. What can we do? How can we make it happen? So I mean, it's just, thank you for doing what you're doing, I guess. Thank you, Sue.
Andre?
Sue for coming in. You know, I'm a big supporter of your initiatives at the Art Center, and I think that really there are so many studies that have shown that direct investment in art usually has a massive payback in socially and economically in any community that has it. To me, investment in art is no different than investing in a community facility like a rink or a pool. Like, it's just a different interest. And I think that, you know, this council might someday decide that it might want to directly invest in art the same as we do in the arena. Because it's so important to such a massive cross section of our residents. So I just want to say that I'm really enthused about your project. And I'm looking forward to discussing it later.
Anyone else? Derek? Derek, oh, sorry, Derek, yeah.
No, just, so if you can hear me or see me, I'm probably on the screen there.
Yeah, hi Derek, I can see.
Anyway, thank you for the presentation. I don't want to repeat what others have said, but certainly very supportive of what you do and what your organization does. So just wanted to let you know that even though I'm not in my chair, I'm at the meeting.
Thanks, Derek. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Anyone?
No, I'll just comment, I mean, repeating what everyone said, but I like the fact that you reach out to all people in the community. It's not just the village.
Yeah.
That everyone in our municipality has been involved in the Arts Center. I know some of the kids of my way do, so I really do support it. I think it's great.
Thank you. That's, yeah, the investment is in this physical building, of course, but that gives us the ability to expand our outreach too. Hoping to go ahead with the seniors program this year. We had a little pilot last year, but the goal is to offer it, bring it to them. So I'm really hoping that can go this year. Perfect.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you all very much. Don't hesitate to call anytime. And yeah,
Okay,
we can bring the art to you guys sometime. Thanks.
Okay, 9:20, well, are they here? Yeah. Might as well bring them in. I mean, half a second, drink. Okay. Morning.
Good morning.
Didn't bring Tommy with you?
He's coming somewhere.
Supposed to be here. Oh, yeah. I thought we missed it.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, that's right, that was yesterday. Truly. Like that, once again, thank you for the opportunity to present to the council about our operations in the last fiscal year and some of our current operations. And the presentation is short and brief. You've already had a copy.
Yeah.
I want to touch on our 2021, unfolded 21, 22. And I said long-term, 5 years. For us, it's probably long-term.
Yeah.
It really is an intermediate timing, but 5 years for us is a long-term. Anyway, our operations is continuing and opened in September 28, 20 and closed March the 16th. That's pretty close to average, normal. We like to get it to go a little bit longer in the season. But a lot of it has to do with weather conditions and the cost. So this is really the time of the refrigeration, when the refrigeration stopped and when it started and when it stopped. Curling rink, October the 6th to April the 6th, pretty average. And we had total ice operating days. And again, that's when we operated all the refrigeration, 351 days and for both rinks. We did have season rentals interrupted by COVID-19. Part of that was maintenance prior to each cycle of hockey or skating or activity. We also had delay. Each rental had to be delayed by a certain amount of time to allow for a proper cleaning beforehand. So it affected, there's no question, it affected our ice rentals. We had ice facilities fundraising and all our revenue, $211,000. Our grant revenue was 127. Excluding our COVID support. And of course, we lucked into the Sinners production, which began March 21st or March 25th in 21. We did have some significant major projects on water and fire protection upgrades, courtesy of the municipality, and the fire protection caught us a little bit off guard, but nevertheless, we responded. It's a fact, and certainly life-saving for a facility, public facility like that is our top of mind. And in the spring of 2020, this always, when I look at this, I have a problem with our overlap for our fiscal year. Sometimes it's hard for me to find around, where we are on any scale, but this is the completion of these projects. And I don't think we actually reported on any of the completions of these, but the water project we completed at $62,000. And I wanted to remind council that they gave us a grant of $35,000, which we used well in this. Yeah. And that was a significant improvement for the facility, both in terms of ice quality. It gave us the opportunity for potable water, and it really did turn things around for us in terms of, let me put it this way, in terms of competitively, in terms of being able to attract good quality ice to users, for users. We had the efficiency heat pumps. We had 6 installed at 40,000, which we did, I think, really good. We got good quality heat pumps, and that hopefully will help us in the long term with trying to lower our energy costs. The trail, the garden, landscaping, we completed at 50,000. That was part of our anniversary. As you recall, we had a grant from TD for the garden, donations, volunteer time from individuals, businesses, and district councilors. So, and again, thanks to municipality and thanks to support in the community. We had project materials at cost and expertise from Ocean View and Chester Building Supplies. So we did get support from
Local business.
local businesses as well. We established SEBA grants, or SEBA grant. This is the federal government catch-all, as it were, for going through, for responding to COVID. We also had the Chester Farmers Market on both online and outdoor. They used the arena at times, and it worked out quite well for them. Not so much for us, it was mostly an outreach thing, but we were happy to do it. We got some good feedback for it. We also, of course, developed our plan, our COVID-19 plan. For us, it was not an easy haul for a volunteer organization, right?
No.
There were some pictures there of the water room. I wanted to share that with you because you financed a good portion of it. Those, what you can see is the first tank is the storage tank. There's another very large one in behind it. Those were, we had virtually no storage. We were getting, storage from water that was draining off the roof and storing in containers outside. But we take about, to make our ice surface, we use about 80,000 liters. And so that's a really intensive time in September. Usually there's not a lot of water kicking around in September in this particular environment, but nevertheless, this is a real improvement. We had our filtration system put in, and we cleaned up some of our pumps, our pumps and the tanks. This is just an example of this is in the Ravens Roost, the upstairs meeting room, and you can see the heads on 3 heat pumps, and we had a total of 6 put in. The rest were put in, I believe, in the curling area. So I know the curling club is really appreciative of it. It's reduced our overall cost of that their lounge and their post-activity rooms. You see the garden. The garden actually went. We were really quite pleased with the garden, the way it turned out. We were going to expand it with 10 beds last summer, but we couldn't do it because we had the contract with the Sinners Production, and they basically took over the entire park area. I'm not complaining because, I mean, we did make some good rental revenue from it, and we know that it made a significant contribution to economic development here in Chester. So we're pleased with that. The highlights, we received support, obviously, from the municipality. We had the annual grant on our operations. We had an emergency grant for the pandemic. We had support from the rec department, which we always get. And if we need counseling, sometimes we definitely get it from Chad. And for the Pew Trust, we got the Pew Trust grant again, which is always a bit of work, quite a bit of work actually, to get the agreement. And then we had our federal government wage support. Our outreach with community gardens, as I said, the trail, we donated ice time. We discounted daytime groups, and we hosted junior C washer costs. There's a picture of the library and the trail. So we put a small library, and you can see it off to the right-hand side. And that's built from old pallets, by the way. And then the rest station, which was used quite a bit. And we were targeting both the children from school and also from Shoreham Village. And it was well received, really well received. In fact, the school has set up almost a camp just on the other side, and some of their bush. So I won't get you into spend time on the COVID plan, but we did put a COVID plan in, as you know. We developed that consistent with the Health Protection Act and hockey guidelines. The curling club did something very similar, which we were happy with. We went through it with them and it worked out fine. I will say we did not have any COVID-19 cases that we were aware of until Omicron came on. And then early in December, in December, we had to shut down for a short period of time where we actually had some instances of Omicron. And that of course affected operations a lot more than we had expected. And primarily because of the delay in opening, the additional cleaning and then a lot of additional restrictions on the users, which prevented them from using the facility. So for our current season, we are having, there's a lot of uncertainty around this. Hopefully we'll get, it'll become a little clearer. There's a lot of pent-up demand to use the facility. There's no question about that. I think Tommy could probably speak to it at a little bit more length or can answer some of your questions. But there were lots of users that had scheduled ice time to play. But with the additional measures put in place, we lost that. So there's no question our revenues on ice rentals are going to suffer for this fiscal year that we're into now. So the other big thing that we're trying to deal with is HR. So we had HR review in the fall, and we tried to modernize the operation in terms of human resources, and to try to move it on to a future footing, something that would be a little less archaic than the measures that we've all basically received. I say received, but it's been tradition. It's very, it is hard to make that transition from past to present in terms of HR. Hiring remains a problem, and we can't go. I shake my head, but some of it has to do with the seasonality of the operation, and that is a problem for us. We have but we are trying our best to do better on the hiring side. We're all getting a little older in that, not only the trustees, but even our staff are getting older. And we need to look at a renewal program of some sort. So we're at that, that's top of mind for us. We had grants, again, the municipality, thank you. The provincial rink grant, which we just got. And work is underway right now under that particular grant. Provincial Economic Development Grant, I've got it underlined because we're in the process of getting it. I don't think we'll have a problem, but we're just getting the paperwork now. And we're in our 4th year of our pew agreement, which means we need to renegotiate an agreement with the pews would likely have to be done by, I would say we'll start in January. And see where that one goes. But everything is, is different. I mean, nothing is the same. So we'll see where we go with the deal agreement.
Do you anticipate, I mean, I know it's complicated and all that kind of stuff, but they've consistently provided it for decades.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if you.
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because they keep you on your back foot all the time. And I spent the better part of 3 weeks doing the interim report for like last year.
Yeah.
And you never know. They rejected it they rejected the submission on the first round. And it was only after clarifications and discussion and whatnot that they accepted it. So it's always a bit of a, I honestly don't know. All I can say is the Pew's attachment to the community is, in my personal view, is probably getting a little thinner and thinner as time goes on, because those because they're getting older, right? And they're further removed from Chester.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we have we have the name and there's history and whatnot. So I can't answer that. I'd love to answer that with some degree of assurance. And then SEBA 2, so we qualified for SEBA 2, which is the second tranche from the federal government. Projects, we have a busy year planned, and some of that was thanks to the center production and of course the Pew and the funding from the municipality. But we have capital projects, roof structure repairs, which we've already done. At least interim, I guess they're interim. I want to talk about that a little bit because it sort of threw us for a big loop. As you know, in 2015, 2016, we had significant roof repairs done from because of the roof structure was starting to split, crack. Basically the adhesive between the glue rams, the part of the structure, were starting to come apart. So we put a plan in place and with advice from the engineers and we reinforced those, and we basically took care of the problem at that time. Up until 2019, based on our annual inspections, or semi-annual inspections, actually inspections every 2 years, we had no issues. And then in September of 2021, we had a further inspection, which said we had some serious issues with the roof structure. And there was a difference in the report between the curling rink and the hockey rink. And in terms of how to deal with it. And ultimately, we came to an understanding, and we for the interim solved the problem in the hockey arena and the curling rink. But it did underscore for us with quite a bit of shock that we all know the building's old, 51, 52 years old, but it underscored for us that the information that we had prior to that was maybe erroneous, maybe no longer accurate. So as part of our capital plan, we're going to update our building assessment in great detail. To see what the real lifespan of that building is, because I think we were caught, because the last assessment we had that basically said if you do these things, you could probably get another 20 years of the building. And then we put our capital plan, we had it broken down, and we had a capital plan which we were implementing. This is we're not sure where we're going to go with this, quite frankly, but we admit that old building, there are some significant wear and tear on it, no question. Right? So we got that work that kept the building open. We're looking at annual inspections of the roof structure, which is not cheap, and it's not necessarily easy, but we also have to deal with weather. And so if we get any quantity of snow, we have to shut the operation down. And the one example that I was aware, which was really tough on the guys, I mean, that's 44,000 square feet, and that's a lot of snow to have to clear off the roof, and that was done by hand. Right? So that's a lot of work. That's not long term. We can't survive on that basis. Now, we are going to look at some of the issues with the trees behind the building, which may be affecting the wind sweep of the roof, right? Yeah. From the snow, but this is top of mind. Now, when I talk about long-term for 5 years, it's not long-term, as I said, it's intermediate, but we still believe that facility, that Church Memorial Park and the arena are important as part of the health corridor. You have the school, you have shore, and you have pharmacy, you have the health clinic. All of that is in a nice, in a corridor, which we think is, and we're trying to promote healthy living and that whole concept and wellness and quality of life, which is consistent with we think, certainly with counseling and municipality, for sure. So we're gonna grow our community vegetable garden if we don't have a big production, which I don't think we're gonna have. We're gonna fundraise for our public outdoor exercise stations and garden storage. So that's just to grow that a little bit more and to do a little bit more infrastructure there. And we're certainly gonna promote the facility as a film media production in the off season because it's ideal. It's, you know, the building itself and the facilities are ideal for that, to get some much needed revenue. We're gonna continue with our arena planning, and of course that may be getting modified by our building assessment that's gonna come up in hopefully second quarter. And I would still like to do the exterior mural on the building. It would be movable, like pictures of some sort that would be movable, but I mean, you have a gem there in terms of, and history of it. Everybody else is celebrating their history. I don't see why we don't, right? So it's, I think there's a real opportunity to do something on that building. God knows there's no surface. Wall surface.
Yeah, there's lots of wall space.
Yeah, so we're gonna begin our planning for the future of the arena facility. I talked to Tommy about our, the boys certainly, and to trustees, that this is something that we can't put off. We need to start planning on it, even if it's, you know, it means a lot of change. And we still don't know what that means. I have talked to Chad about getting together and getting the input from municipality on where they think, you know, where are the demographics going? What are the users? What are the people of Chester thinking about, right? I hear all sorts of different things. Anyway, that's basically it. That's where we are, and that's where we were. And any questions, guys?
Well, I guess we just thank you for coming in. I guess we're well aware of, I look forward, but don't know, I look forward to it. But I want to see and be aware of the evaluation of the building in the long term.
Yes.
Yeah, where it's gonna go. I mean, I think that's a big issue to council as well.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, like how do we maintain that type of facility in our municipality? What's that mean to us going forward? Yeah.
It's a biggie.
And the time frame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Derek, sorry. Oh, yes, I see your hand there now. Okay, Derek.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mike, good presentation. I think everybody was anxious to hear the state of the facility and what the long-term plan was. And I think this is very helpful for us. And you did a great job. I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Derek.
Tina.
Thank you. So when you use the terminology in the interim, I know it's hard with masks, I'm sorry, I'll speak up. In the interim, you've solved the challenge with the roof, I believe, and the assessment and the looking for. So can you define interim for me? Is that this year, the next year?
No, again, I don't know. I think maybe Tommy, you're probably better to talk about it. In terms of, I mean, if we could forecast it, would be great. Right now, the engineer has come back and looked at it again and said that it's fine, you can open. There's no issues right now, but you need to have an annual inspection. So really, our future is based on the annual inspections to some extent. Now, we might be able to do other things. I'd like to drill down into exactly what does that mean? Can you rehabilitate Blue Lamb at all with a different system? And but the building was built in the late sixties.
Yeah.
The building codes are different today than they were then. They've actually changed a couple times, and the repair that we had in 2015, 2016 only met the 2010 building code. So, and we know that the environment is changing,
Yeah,
that there's more wind, and and the question is, the snow, then there's lots of extremes now. We're into, an unknown, for many respects, but that's the one that concerns all of us the most. We're dealing with a little bit of an unknown here.
great.
I just wanted to follow up and say, I appreciate your honesty and the fact that was, pie in the sky or an unfair question, and that, again, we can't look at a crystal, if we could look at a crystal ball, right? But yeah, in terms of being able to pinpoint that. So I appreciate the fact that you're here today, you come in annually, but the fact that we're part of the discussion, and I'm sure part of the solution, because again, this is very important.
Agreed.
So.
Derek, do you have your hand up again, or did you just not remove
I'm probably frozen there. No, I didn't.
it? Okay, just want to make sure. Anyone else, questions, comments before?
I just like to, one quick thing, I don't know if any of you are aware, or you may be. To operate our facility, we must have a licensed refrigeration technician on site every 24 hours. The tickets are very difficult to get. I have mine from years ago. Paul Caney, who's well into his 70s, still stays on in a part-time capacity, and it allows us to have a second ticket. So I'm kind of proud of Dale Kaiser, one of our employees. He went and he got his GED. He upgraded to his GED grade 12. I enrolled him in the program to get his refrigeration ticket. And to this point, he's about 40% through his course, and he's been doing very well. And it's an extremely difficult course for someone that's been out of school for 25, 30 years. But I think it's, I just wanted to give him the, let people know that it can happen. And I'm really hoping that, continue through his course, he's gonna pass, and that will secure another refrigeration ticket for us for, some years to come.
Yeah, make your life simpler.
Yeah, and it's a good news story that, someone that hadn't had, we only had a grade 9 education, he upgraded his education, and then he's involved in a very, very difficult course with refrigeration. Just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in, bringing us up to date.
Thank you.
See you soon.
We're gonna take a 10-minute break unless somebody has a problem.